Audio levels full volume. It's go time.
Broadcasting from the most powerful city in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the Power Table. This is the Power Table with Teresa Marie and the LBD.
Right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back again.
Back again. It's the Power Table.
And we are sorry about the long delay, but life does happen.
It does happen. We were educated.
Yes, we were.
We were taking classes, improving our education levels.
Yeah, we were trying to enhance our life.
Yeah.
But you know what? Now we're back. It's summertime, and I know you've been waiting for the part 2 of our interview with Charlottesville's very own
Dr. Wes Bellamy.
And so here it is.
The Power Table.
You have a different insight from the position that you have than I would have, or LBD, when it comes to Dr. King, because you're actually walking a similar, very familiar path. So
it's tough.
those words come off the page.
Yeah, I mean it's
Yeah,
I mean it's again, man.
They have to.
I have the utmost respect for Dr. King, and I know when I leave here or before I head back, I know I'll be going to the monument. And
it's open till 11, I think. I love that place. I go to.
Yeah, right.
So they say.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I ain't
fine.
gonna say that, get me in trouble.
Just to alter the route a little
Yeah,
bit.
let's do that, man. It's getting heavy.
Thank you for sharing that, though, because
yeah.
it's not just all about, being on the front line. There are things that make you who you are today as a man. Yeah. And those who are watching and listening need to know what those things are, because it's something that they can tap into and go back and say, okay, when I hear this speech or when I see these pictures of Dr. King, it'll mean something different.
Yes, ma'am.
Because Wes said something about it. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Symbols in America right now.
Oh yeah.
That is the catalyst that brought you to the forefront for the most part.
Right.
Where are we right now in Charlottesville? And I know that there's a new fight that's going on right now in Charlottesville that just came up in the last few days or so.
Wait, which fight is that?
Is that the one with
got
the flag?
Oh, the Wes Bellamy flag.
Yeah, that's what they call it?
Yeah. So if you Google the flag or look at the Confederate flaggers, their statement, like they say they put that flag up because of me. So for those who don't know what we're talking about in Charlotte, well, right outside of Charlottesville, like they lost again. They couldn't even put the flag in Charlottesville. It's in Louisa County.
Right.
It's
on
like
private property?
On private property. It's like a 250-foot Confederate flag off of the highway. And in their press release and whatnot, they say they put that flag up to me, and so on and so forth. That's a badge of honor. Y'all think this much about me that you want to put this flag up, and that's not gonna make me stop from fighting for equity and our rights. So really, that's just more motivation. But in any event, in regards to the statues, and I'll be remiss, I have to give a little shout out to my man Brandon Scott, the city councilman in Baltimore, actually for running for lieutenant governor right now. Yo, Baltimore on the low, people don't know this, but they stole our resolution
really?
Yeah, when they moved their statues.
They just borrowed it.
Nah, they ain't still. Yeah, I'm joking. They borrowed it.
Right.
But there's been a few cities that's done that. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're in a group chat. There's a bunch of elected officials. We're in a group chat.
New Orleans is another city.
Yeah. Shout out to Mitch. Shout out to the sister. LaToya. Shout out to sister, their first black female mayor.
Right.
But in regards to the statues in Charlottesville, so we initially had to vote to remove the statues, which was rather controversial. But I think a lot of people don't know, while we had to vote to move the statues, and that was 3-2, I also got a $4.5 million equity package passed, which some are calling a reparations package, which I think I'm even more proud of than just the statue vote. Because in that $4.5 million equity package, we had $250,000 to renovate a traditionally African-American park, $50,000 for anybody who lives in public housing to get free GED training and go get community college, a $20,000 grant for anyone in our public schools to write a class about African-American studies and ethnic studies, $2.5 million to redevelop all public housing sites, $100,000 position for Black male achievement, and a litany of other things.
Are you managing this? You got the whole list.
Yeah, and a litany of other things.
Good stuff.
So it's the statues or the symbols, but the substance was the equity package.
Yes.
And I was very proud of that. So the statues right now, we had a judge rule that there's an injunction in which we can't move them until we go to court in October. There's a state law in Virginia that says you can't remove war memorials. This local judge seems to think that the statues are a war memorial, although the deed says there was no mention of the Confederacy. This was only supposed to be a gift to the parents.
How is it a war memorial in
Yeah.
1924? Was it 1924?
Yeah, it's 1924 when the
Yeah.
statue was erected,
Right.
nearly 60 years roughly after the end of the Civil War. But again, these are they consider the Civil War and the fight for the Confederacy a war in which is recognized the same way as World War II.
The Confederacy lost.
They lost bad.
But I see what you're saying. It was a war.
Yeah, so
They're just saying it was a war, no different than. We see it differently,
Right.
but just for terms of
You don't
what
see
they
no,
want to do,
no.
they want it to be.
There's no statues to Ulysses S. Grant in Charlottesville.
There's no in Germany at the
Right.
same time. There's no.
Yeah, I just left from over there. There's no statues to Hitler.
Statues of Hitler
Yeah.
or
But we're
anything remembering
revered.
that
But we
war.
revere. Again, this is why it's important
Right.
for us to be registered to vote. Let our
Absolutely.
voices be heard, because literally state legislators depend on us being uninformed, and then they pass state laws and ordinances that say you can't move situations like this. When the state legislators, the General Assembly in Virginia, when they met earlier this year, and they reinforced or doubled down on their law in regards to how they interpret these statues and that you can't remove them, we had no one go to quote unquote protest that decision or let their voice be heard. But if we don't know when the General Assembly is in session, nor do we know who our elected officials are who are representing us on the state level,
Our voices are not heard.
our voices aren't heard. And they anticipate us not knowing.
How many statues?
So we have 2 in Charlottesville that we're asking to be removed. Throughout Virginia, there's over 100 statues. To
Well,
the
Richmond was the
Confederacy.
capital of the Confederacy.
So we need to get them out of there too.
Yeah.
Shout out to my man Mayor LeVar Stoney. I just talked to him earlier today. And these individuals, they feel as if we're like the Confederacy. These folks, some of them.
I'm still looking for your
You're looking-
flag, but
yeah.
there's so much media on you, Wes. I'm
Yeah.
still paying attention. It's
Yeah,
not, it's
It's
a good
hectic.
thing.
It's hectic.
But and
Yeah.
you got great pictures, by the way.
Thank you. But yeah, I
Like-
mean, it's like, these individuals, they want to hold on to that lost cause narrative because they believe it's their history, which I'm not going to be upset with anyone for recognizing or celebrating their quote unquote history. But understand that your history is extremely, extremely offensive to a lot of people, black, white, and indifferent.
Yes.
And our state legislators need to understand the pain that it's causing. Charlottesville, these individuals like Richard Spencer and the leader of the Ku Klux Klans, David Duke, like they believe that these statues are rallying cries for them to continue to come. And they're not understanding how much of a lightning rod these
I think they
emblems are.
understand. I think they understand how much of a lightning
So
rod
here's the
it is.
question. If
Yeah.
they understand how much of a lightning rod, why would they continue to have these laws, these state legislators continue to have these laws on the books to allow these statues to remain? Do they value our opinion?
No.
So if they don't value our opinion, why are we not using legislative processes to have them removed, i.e. voting them out?
Because just like you said, we don't know. We don't know when the general assemblies are. We don't know
We don't
what's
have-
in the
But
what
it's
the
not like
bills
we
or
don't have access to the
we
information.
have access, but
Yo,
sometimes
we look
don't
on the
even know how to
shade
gain
room.
access.
We
Right.
look on.
Right.
We on Snapchat
Media
all day. We on
takeout
IG.
and
Yo,
gossip.
Right.
if you can
Right.
Google what's going on with Fab
We
and
care
what's
about the
me,
things we
like
want.
you can be there.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
it's not like we don't have access to it, but let's talk about that being a war, though, because I understand what you're saying in about removing the statues, but sometimes with that war, when we look at our country, that war is also a part of the history,
Yeah.
and our military uses that in learning lessons or a different approach. They don't use it for, racism or anything like that, but they look at those wars, how the strategies were done, how the war was won. I mean, it's a part of the history. It's not a
Right.
good part, but it's still a learning lesson when we talk about our military that are supporting us and protecting
we can
us.
study the war in
And not revere it.
strategic military design
Yeah.
and not revere it for the messages that it sent. Let's keep it real. The Civil War was fought because slavery existed. The South wanted
Right.
slavery
And-
to continue. The
and
North
money.
did not. They wanted and money. It was
Yeah.
an economic thing.
Yeah.
Some of these practices are still going on right now. So these symbols are hurtful to people like me and you.
Yeah,
So-
they are hurtful. But when he talked about them being a war, them, under the quote unquote war, I'm thinking about, my family, my father that is, a military from
Right.
Alabama.
Right.
He's from Alabama.
Right.
When
don't
he
get
was
much more
called
southern
every
than
day
that.
and they was
Right.
rubbing his head and
Yeah.
all of that stuff. So,
Yeah.
so it's
and much respect to
interesting.
your father.
Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Yeah,
My
much
brother's
respect to your
military
father.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I'm a
Oh, it's your
military.
family.
But
Yeah.
we're military. But when I think about my brother going to war colleges, wars that he studied, it's all right here in our backyard. We
Right.
have a lot of histories, not good, but when I think about
Right.
war in terms of them, it maybe in their mind trying to protect it, you can't rationalize it. But what is the real message? Because our message is different when
Right.
we look at those statues than what they're trying to project.
So I think even with that, the question is often asked to me. So no, you're fine. The question again for the third time. The question is often asked to me. Well, Wes, if you have those statues removed, then you're erasing history. And my thing is, you cannot erase nearly 400 years of slavery, Jim Crow, redlining. That history will always be taught.
It's
in
not
schools.
just history. Some of that stuff still exists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you remove two statues, definitely, and they came, trued up in their Confederate flags, you would thought they were Crips or Bloods the way they was rocking those flags and banging for what they believed to be right. All right. So that
People
history
lost their lives.
literally,
Yeah.
literally lost their lives. Their history will never be erased because it's within the DNA of our country.
Right.
And then even when you look at like these individuals putting up flags, the
I'm
flag
reading
of
the story
defiance.
now for all who are listening. That's why I'm quiet.
The flag
This is
of
quite
defiance
interesting.
on I-64 because they believe that their quote-unquote history needs to be told. And as much as they continue to believe that their history needs to be told, I personally believe that they're dwindling in number, which is why they're trying to be louder or more vocal. So we must meet their energy, not necessarily with hate, but with love and compassion, but also with strategy.
Right.
So we have to continue to get people in a position in office, continue to get people to understand their rights and know their roles and don't be silent. So whether that's using whatever medium that you so choose, Instagram, social media, Twitter, going to city council meetings, going to state legislator meetings, like whatever, just be vocal and use your voice as a platform.
Right. How important?
They really did put your name in this article.
Yeah, I'm never
Sorry,
like
LBD.
So it's
they're
the
my
article.
biggest fan.
It's amazing.
I wish y'all could see her face.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
like
yeah,
she
yeah,
is.
Right.
Yeah, I live with this every day.
State how important these midterm elections are, especially
Oh.
on the local and state level.
Oh man, it literally. We talk oftentimes about national politics and understanding who our president is, which indeed means a great deal. But your individual, like your local elections, those midterms, in terms of the congressional candidates, and again, your local candidates. That's who specifically plays a role into your everyday and day-to-day life.
Those affect you the most.
Oh, man. I could write a policy in terms of city council, like in Charlottesville tomorrow, and it will have an immediate impact, opposed to a trickle-down effect that you may see from a state level or national level. So we have to be informed on who is representing us. And then not only be informed, hold those individuals accountable. Like, again, I hold no issues or I have no qualms with anyone who decides to say, Wes, you're not doing X, Y, and Z. Because I need to figure out how I can meet their need, or I need to explain to them this is the strategy in which I'm using, or figure out how we can work together. You can't just go and talk to a 45 or Pence and tell them, what you doing is affecting me this way.
Right.
Because there's so much bureaucracy. But you can talk to your local electeds daily if you need to.
And it's funny that you said it because Virginia had an election, a special election that changed the course of
Yeah.
Virginia.
Yo, shout out to my man, my big bro, Justin Fairfax.
Right.
Shout out JF. He's probably listening. He'll text me. Justin texts like 6 in the morning. Like, he just be with it, yo.
Yeah,
Wow.
so these elections coming up are very important.
They are.
Yeah.
And we're going to change the course of the country.
No doubt.
So it's state and local, just like you said, is just as effective or more effective than you can't just wait for the presidential election
Right.
or midterms
Right.
to come
Yo,
around.
the thing is, like, you mad, like you want to protest,
Right.
you don't agree with
wanna
what's
march.
going on. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I agree. Like, I rock with a protest. Like you with a protest,
Right.
shoot, come protest me.
Right.
Like I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? I'll join your protest about what we've doing. I've participated in protests against my own city council that I'm a sitting member of. I'm cool with that. But in addition to that, we must also exercise our use our voices at the ballot. You have to be able to do so.
And what do you say to those who say it don't matter? My voice don't.
Yo, I lost an election.
I
lost an election by 4 votes. Peep this. First election, lost by 4 votes. And I kept a count. 178 people subsequently came up to me and apologizing for not going to vote because either it was too hot, because it was hot that day, or they thought that I was just going to win, or like they had another reason in which they didn't choose to go vote. So it was an additional 2 years in which our city went without an African American on city council. Now
somebody representing the people.
Now let me show you how that plays a role, right? That was in 2013. I didn't actually, the next election that I could participate in was 2015, and I took office in 2016. The big issue that we were talking about last night on Charlottesville City Council was an issue involving a developer and looking at affordable housing units that was being built. But it was an issue that was decided back in 2014. The City Council allocated nearly $3 million into this project to get it going and so forth. So now, in 2018, I'm just trying to work to figure out how we can get the best out of it that we can. But if I would have won the election, if you 182 people would have went out and voted for me, or if 6 of you would have went and voted for me, I would have won that election, and I could have used my voice and expounded on that back in 2014 when this deal was made. So that's how it all plays a role when we say like these things don't matter.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Right.
That's a great example. So that means you got to get out there and register, get yourself together and vote. It really does count. You can't wait for the stars and the celebrities to come around to tell you to do it. It's your right.
No
it's
doubt.
your right.
And like I'm no different from anybody else. Like I listen to Jeezy like every day.
I was just going to
You know what I'm
ask.
saying? Like I listen to Meek. Like I wear my chains. I wear these shirts. Like I like wearing Jordans. I like wearing suits. I'm not super Negro or like any special person. I'm regular.
He did say super Negro.
No, but I mean like
I was gonna say yes, you are.
Yeah, like I feel like sometimes people think that in order for you to be in these positions, like I hear my friends or different people I meet say this all the time, like, oh, I gotta be like this. Like, no, bro. Again, my old tweets are evidence.
We're scared of ourselves.
Yeah, I'm a regular
success.
person. Right? Yeah. We can sometimes be our biggest deterrents, and the only thing we have to fear are our own fears. Our ancestors literally died for us to be able to be in these positions.
Absolutely.
You gonna tell me that I'm gonna tell like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I had a chance to go to Europe for some speaking engagements a couple of weeks ago and met some brothers and sisters from the Congo, and they were talking about how our ancestors, when they were being brought over to America, there's a lot of stories we don't hear about how they literally fought these individuals, and there were several battles that took place in which, they just got killed. And they would rather die opposed to come over and be in bondage, or even being on the Atlantic and taking over the boats and dying. And not even them, those who did come over here and had to endure such savagery by many of the quote unquote masters. You mean to tell me we can't even go and vote?
Yes.
After they've went through all of this for us?
We forget.
Yeah, we're literally their wildest dreams.
Because there's a gap between when they fought for the vote and they were out there marching to.
We still fighting.
Yeah, we still fighting, but you know what I'm saying is we got it so good now. I do.
Yeah,
I think that
we gotten comfortable. I don't think it's that we gotten so good. We got it comfortable.
Well, relative. I would agree with you.
Yeah,
we're relative to how we were before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we got it.
We got it good.
Way better.
We
I
got
mean,
it
the fact
good.
we're here right now.
Talking exactly.
I look at your watch. I look at her ring. Somebody got it. Somebody got it good.
good.
Hard every day.
Right.
No, but we
Eyes
forget, so the
hurting
younger
looking
people.
over
But this is why I'm glad, when you see the students at Howard University, or you
shout out to
see
HU.
students coming out and marching, and the thing that happened in Florida, peace and blessings to all of these young people who are out here making a difference. Like their voice is, they're standing up saying, no, you're not going to do it for us. And that's what, Martin Luther King and all those times. But there's a gap here.
I stand corrected. I mean, you guys are right, but I do think that there was a level of comfortability that we did have during the Obama years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We thought that now we have
We was
a
at the
first
top of the
black
mountain.
president.
Yeah, we
Racism is over. We're good.
stopped singing our
everybody's
Negro
sleep now.
spirituals.
And then once we get the election of 45, there's now we realize that we really weren't as
Well, I've heard it. I forget who said it, but there was an individual who stated Obama showed us the hope of where we could be and where we thought we were.
Right.
45 shows us exactly where we still are. So
Facts.
because and I've been around President. I like to call him Big Homie. I've been around Big Homie several times. He'll be the first one to tell you, we still got a lot of work to do.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's go out and do it. I'm an Obama fellow. Like I was there. This is the Obama Foundation kickoff in Chicago in October. Like I was there. We got a chance to spend some good time. And he'll be the first one to tell you. Don't think that because like I was in office or because I'm out of office that the work stops. Like we have to continue and keep going.
Continues.
Yeah.
Really
Work
does.
continues.
So what's next for Wes?
Man, honestly, I don't know. I mean, that's a thing that people
don't
oftentimes
know.
say to me. Yeah,
don't know.
it's what God tells
We
me.
got a lot of work to do.
How do
That's
you
what's
prepare
next.
for your day? What do you do?
So a day normally starts for me around 4:30, 5 a.m. Say a quick prayer. Try to hit the gym. So we play ball at 5:30 a.m. And then after that, we lift weights. So we're going from like 5:30 to about 8. Just me and some of my friends where I can get to go, yell, curse, push, foul. Yeah, just be myself. They not looking at me as Wes. They looking like, I'm going to block your shot. You know what I mean? So that's normally how it goes. And then I head over to a school. I help run an alternative school in Richmond, Virginia for very, very troubled young people. Yeah, so we go there every day. So I drive like an hour to work, be there with the kids. That's until about 3:30, 4 o'clock. Then I come back to Charlottesville. Normally having meetings in between that, like conference calls. I normally have meetings until about 4:30 to about maybe 9 or 10 o'clock, and then try to wind down. So that's just a day-to-day routine. I can say in the immediate, we're hosting. Some friends and I, we're hosting the first ever Black Millennial Political Convention, which is going to be in Crystal City, Virginia, June 21st through the 24th. So hopefully we'll have a few special guests. I can't say who's going to be there.
Is
But
there a website for that?
yeah, blackmillennialconvention.com.
One more time.
So blackmillennialconvention.com. And if you go on my Instagram page at Dr. Wes Bellamy, you'll see all the information on there. So that's going to be really dope. It's for the first time ever. And it's based off of back in the 70s, they used to have the Black Political Convention where they would get all of the quote unquote elected officials, people who were organizers, all of this stuff. They would come together and talk about specifically African American issues. So whether you were a Republican, Democrat, Green Party, whatever, they would all link up, figure out policy, and mob and go forward. So we're having the inaugural Black Millennial Convention again, June 21st through 24th. Registration is still open, so I'm spearheading that. Just got a podcast with my friend Matt Murph. It's called Peaceful Rage Podcast. Yeah. So, we're working on that. I'm working on a book. The New Civil Rights Movement 2.0. So I'm still elected official, so we still got city council. For me, it's really about just getting the information out and letting people know this is how you do X, Y, Z. I'm a professor at Virginia State University as well, so,
Things are popping for Dr. Bellamy.
Yeah, I mean, we good. We're good money. You was a woo-woo? Okay. Trojan Pride. Trojan Pride. So, so I got my master's and my doctorate from VSU, and now I teach over there. So, that's really where I am right now. It's just about sharing this information. I don't believe that God gave me these talents to just hold it in. And, again, people kind of look at me funny when they be like, well, what's next? Like, you don't know what's next? Are you going to run for office or run for Congress or something? Like, I don't know. I try to move in my life right now based off of what the man upstairs tells me to do.
You certainly got the principles.
Yeah, well,
prayer, investing in yourself, giving back.
Nah,
to
in
the
this lifestyle, you
community.
can lose yourself real quick.
Yeah.
Sure
People
you can.
telling you,
I
people
know.
telling you like, you the best thing since sliced bread. Like, I had Van Jones tell me, oh man, I think you like a young Dr. King. That'll make a person's head get big. But
Right.
I've learned, and it wasn't just too long ago. 2016 when all the Twitter stuff came out, I learned just as quick as you rise, individuals can bring you right back down.
Absolutely. It's-
They'll
House of Cards.
yeah, they'll fade away from you real quick.
Right.
And God was
I like
able
that
to.
House of Cards. That was real.
Nice plug, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Tell
let me
Netflix
just-
to cut you a check for that.
Hey, they need to. Because I
I don't know if you need no more checks. I look at your
I
wife.
work hard every day. I work hard every day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But look, man, we definitely appreciate you coming by and having a seat at the power table, and we don't want you to be a stranger either, because
Right.
like
No
I said,
doubt.
we got some things coming up with the election and everything. We
Yeah.
want to correspond with you, so
Well,
we
let me
can let
know.
people know.
I really appreciate you all
Yeah.
sharing your space with me. It means a lot, and we're all in this together.
Yo, Dr. Wes
Appreciate y'all.
Bellamy.
Man, that was
Thank you for having a
great.
seat at the power
Thank you
table.
for coming and sitting at the power table. Say it again. It's the
Power table.
The Power Table.
You know what, Teresa? I'm very interested in seeing how this young brother will navigate his political career in Virginia, even though we're only a year removed from the Unite the Right rally that occurred.
Only a year.
Only a year.
It doesn't seem like
that. Rest in peace to Heather Heyer and those two officers who lost their lives. And through these trying times will continue to be a problem in this country. I see a beacon of hope with Dr. Wes Bellamy.
Yeah, he is ever evolving, and I like that he shares the parts of his life that were not so good and how he learned and he grew from that and continues to grow. So I like that about
this brother's very young, and he's going to be around for a very long time. And I can see him in the congressional halls at some point.
I agree. And, you know, we talked a little bit about Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King, and how he felt about that. But I can see how that kind of channels for him.
Indeed.
Right? Indeed.
But in the meantime, in between time, let's get into the tea.
Time for the tea.
Let's take it from the top.
Who needs water cooler talk?
Boring.
Listen.
She has the tea.
Come and get it while it's hot.
It's the tea with Teresa Marie.
Now.
All right, today we're going to talk about Janelle Monáe and Tessa Thompson. So recently they talked about their sexuality being bisexuality. So there was an interview and Tessa Thompson kind of said, you know, she and Janelle Monáe are private, but it was interpreted as they were in a relationship together.
Well, first of all, I am new to the fact that they are bisexuals.
I was new to the fact that they were bisexual, but I think early on there was a Rolling Stone interview that Janelle Monáe did in April that talked about her bisexuality, but actually pansexuality.
Now, explain to the people what pansexuality is.
Pansexuality is no gender restriction.
Right.
So we know bisexual, you'll date a man, you'll date a woman.
Right.
But with pansexuality, there's just no gender restrictions.
Right. So you'll date a man, a woman, or either a transgender. Or somebody who is just curious.
Or curious or exploring or, learning about themselves.
That's
you know
very
what I mean?
interesting.
It is interesting because it's a new term for me.
Right.
But, hey, this is what they do. And that's who they are.
Yeah, it's interesting because I saw the videos from Janelle Monáe's new album, Dirty Computer, which kind of explores some of the things that she mirrors in real life.
I love Janelle Monáe.
Yeah, and Tessa Thompson was in many of her videos as well.
Yeah, she's a great artist. So my interaction with her and some of the listening parties that I've had with her, Janelle Monáe, she's so cool and her team is cool. So that's her life. But so Tessa Thompson, she kind of had to pedal back a couple of feet because she said that, it came off like they were in a relationship.
Right.
But they're not in a relationship. And I guess when she talked about being private and how they express themselves as bisexuality, that was interpreted as them being in a relationship. But you know what? That's their private life.
Absolutely. And they both were riding high on success. Janelle Monáe with her new album, Dirty Computer, as I stated before.
Right.
And Tessa Thompson doing great things. She's in the new Creed movie that's coming out. Also, she's in HBO's Westworld, so they're taking off. So
that Westworld is ridiculous.
It is very strange.
I can hang on for a few minutes on that one. Okay, so let's switch gears here.
Okay.
Who your daddy is?
Who my daddy is? Who that
your
is?
Your daddy name is? Floyd Mayweather Sr.
Really?
Yes.
What's going on with him?
Okay, so he has a 1-year-old.
Wait a minute. Floyd Mayweather is, if I'm not mistaken, he's either 39 or 40. Floyd Mayweather Jr. is either 39 or 40. So you mean to tell me he has a younger sister that is 40 years his junior?
Absolutely. Floyd Mayweather Sr. Has a baby with Parissa Ferris. She's 29.
Oh, what?
She's 29.
Big pimpin'.
And so he was ordered to take a paternity test. It came back 99% accurate. So he's a daddy.
Let me tell you like this.
He has 5 other kids.
I'm happy for him to being a father again, if that's what he wants. But you know who's really happy? That girl Parissa. She just won the lottery. She just won the lottery.
Wait a minute now. It takes 2 to tango.
Well, this is true. What I'm saying is, yes, he has a son. He has a child. He's probably going to take care of him. The son's going to be well taken care of. But guess how? You know what? That's Floyd Mayweather Sr., He got a little bit of cash.
Well, he's a true champion. He raised a champion, and I guess,
Talk about float like a butterfly, sing like a bee. You're going to have to, hey, Floyd Mayweather Jr., you're going to have to talk about your dad. You're going to have to talk to your dad about the birds and the
You
bees
know
in a
what?
minute.
People live their life the way they want to live their life. So what can we say? So I just thought that was interesting because
Well, I'm
at
happy for him.
65,
Well, I'm happy for him. That's what you want to do. Hey, he
a
pulled it.
1-year-old at 65.
He pulled a 29-year-old. Hey,
All right now.
it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Mackin' Floyd Mayweather Senior Mac Daddy. All right, that's the tea. Just a little fun for the summer.
All right. Hey, look, we appreciate you all for listening to the Power Table. New episodes coming soon. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a brother or sister that we are on and popping on MagicDC.com and SoundCloud. Search the Power Table.
You covered everything.
I hope I did.
Hit us up on the gram.
Follow the LBD on Instagram at @the_LBD1 and Teresa Marie at I am Teresa Marie.
On my timeline.
Thank you for having a seat at the Power Table.